Come on, Annie. Let's go to the movies.
This is the Cinereelists episode 598. My name is Kyle.
My name is James.
And my name is Zach.
And we're here talking movies, movie lists, and movie obsession for the next hour or so. James, I think this is also a great time just to plug the Patreon.
Absolutely. Patreon is amazing and awesome, and we just recorded one. So if you want to hear us talk about our first jobs, the jobs we hate, and Zach's weird job, then you should check out the Patreon at patreon.com/Cinereelists. Support the podcast, get extra after show audio. In fact, like day one, if you support the podcast right now, you get like, I don't even know how many after shows. 100? You think it's 100?
Yeah, I do.
I would
Probably
say
200,
so.
right?
Yeah.
200 episodes of non-topical discussion.
James, how about as an extra bonus
Okay.
for our Patreon listeners,
Sometime
this week, you record yourself for 24 hours straight. And
How about
upload that video
no?
to Patreon.
How about no?
So completely unedited. It'll never before done. Just
you
24
mean like
hours
video
of James.
it?
Yeah, video it or audio,
Yeah,
whatever.
I think just audio would be fine. Just do a little like a t-shirt mic, a little clip
Who-
mic
yeah,
on you.
one
Who would wanna listen to
24-hour
that?
video or audio file.
Who would want to listen to that?
James, you
No
know
one.
you would listen to that if someone else did it.
24 hours? I would watch the YouTube highlights, but not the...
You would do it if LaBouche did it or whatever.
It would be
Who's your
really
guy?
boring. This week's going to be really boring. It's
Yeah.
literally like tomorrow I'm going to New Smyrna to water my parents' plants because they're out of town. And then the rest of the week I'll be working at home.
Maybe people
It's
want to see
gonna
what
be
you
boring.
do.
So what's the fear, James?
There's no fear. It's just what's the point?
He doesn't want
The
to
Patreon are demanding it.
I mean, I'm all for pointless exercises, but that is really pointless.
It's been demanded, I think.
By
He's
who?
embarrassed
By
by the amount
you
of-
only. If I hear a Patreon listener say they want that, then I'll consider it. Not guarantee
consi-
it. Not
Hold on.
guarantee it. Consider it.
1 is a consider, 2 is a guarantee.
No.
3 is a
one is a
guarantee.
consider. 2 is a more strongly consider.
Okay, and
But-
3 is a guarantee.
No, there's no
What?
guarantee. There's no guarantee.
3?
Zach, you and I both know there's no guarantees in life.
Some things are guaranteed, James.
Like what?
Gravity.
No,
No, you could go places without gravity.
No, you can't. Where are you going to go without gravity? Where, James?
Space.
There's gravity,
There's gravity
in
in
space.
space.
In actual space or
Yeah,
like on
In
the moon?
actual
What are you
space.
talking about?
There's gravity
Everywhere.
everywhere.
Well,
Well,
you may not be able to feel the effect of gravity, but it's there.
I mean, I don't want to get into hypothetical, but do
It's
we
not-
know
it's-
like
this isn't hypothetical.
do we know
We've been to
space
space.
is the same here as it is like in other parts of the galaxy that we haven't gotten to? Maybe
Yeah,
there's
we
no
do.
gravity there.
There's gravity there.
How do you know?
We can see it. We see things orbiting stars and stars orbiting galaxies and galaxies orbiting.
I'm talking about
superclusters.
beyond that.
We can see the very edge of space.
You're saying
We
what
can-
happens beyond what we can observe? Great
Yeah.
question.
Exactly.
We can see into the very dawn of time, James. And there's gravity.
I don't know. I'm not sure I will
I know.
grant that.
You think there's a place out there where there's just
Oh my
no
gosh. Are we
gravity?
gonna have to restart this episode too?
Yeah.
All right. You could also find a video version of this podcast on YouTube. I learned this week I've been saying it wrong. You can't go youtube.com/Cinereelists. You, for some reason, have to go to youtube.com/the @ symbol and then Cinereelists on YouTube to get to us.
well,
Which
that's
is annoying and
terrible.
pointless. Yep.
That's terrible.
So go check us out there and watch while you listen. Leave us a subscribe while you're at it. You could also leave us an Apple Podcast review. We'd appreciate that. Not to completely disrail this, but I went to our Apple Podcast entry and like all the reviews had been removed.
What?
I know. I was like, I don't understand what's going on
No.
here. Yeah.
Really?
I don't know if it's still like that. That was like earlier this week, but I was pretty upset.
Let's see.
The point is,
Podcasts.
if they were all removed, we need more. So leave us an Apple Podcast review. We'd appreciate that.
That's what that
5
means.
stars only. I don't know if they timed out. You know what I mean? Like all the old ones, because this show's been on for a
No.
while. So
Why would they time out reviews?
because if a review's like 7 years old, it's probably not accurate for what the current product is.
Well,
Possibly.
okay, so I just clicked on see all, and I see reviews.
Really?
Yeah, from
Yeah,
2
they're all
years
there.
ago until 9 years
Day one?
ago, where the first review ever was written by someone named Shaubin.
Ooh.
Zach reviewed his
5
own
stars.
podcast. That's
And that
hilarious.
was James. That was the first day. We have a 1-star rating.
That was
Let's see
day
what that
one
is.
that you left that review?
Yeah,
Yeah.
his first review was excited to see the first episode is up, 5 stars.
Yeah.
And
9 years ago.
his subject line is glad to see this is up. So like the subject line and the text are there's no new information.
I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure that's against the terms of service to give your own podcast 5 stars on the first day, Zach.
Well, I did think it was 5 stars, and I was very glad to see it up.
It took me a whole year to write a review for
It's
this,
so disappointing.
podcast.
Our 1-star rating doesn't have a review, so I can't. Remember the
Oh, I
guy
wanna
that hated us because remember they thought we were the worst things ever, and they said we'd be better off reviewing Teletubbies, and so we reviewed an episode of Teletubbies.
Absolutely. That was fun.
That was great, and that was a good episode too.
maybe one of our best reviews, to be honest.
It was nice.
What is kind of sad, we've not had a review in over 2 years. So
What? Well, somebody's slacking.
yeah,
This
I don't-
guy
probably
wrote
somebody
his subject
listening
matter
right now.
is James Rules, and his his only review is Zach Drools.
3 stars.
3 stars.
Who is that?
It does. I don't know.
I want to know. I'm an
All
inquiring
right,
mind.
so leave us a review, guys. If you're listening, you haven't reviewed the Cinereelists, feel free.
Absolutely.
Feel free.
Also, you could send us an email, heyguys@cinereelist.com. We'd appreciate that. This week, we really should have reviewed Three Musketeers movies.
You know,
That would've made more sense.
I was thinking about that last night, but I don't think we had time to get a third one in there, unfortunately.
Sure.
But
We
there's
watched-
like one from 2011, and I think there's one from the 70s with maybe Charlton Heston.
Okay. There's probably one from like the early days, right? Of
I
Hollywood?
bet there's several silent film Three Musketeers.
Right.
Yeah. This is
Yeah,
the kind of
right.
story that there's probably 15 versions of.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's like a Robin Hood situation.
So you might not know, but there is a new Three Musketeers movie out in the ether. It's a French film. I don't believe it was released in theaters here in the United States, but you can rent it online, called The Three Musketeers: D'Artagnan. We also reviewed the Three Musketeers Disney movie from 1993. So we're going to get into that, starting with the newer film, The Three Musketeers: D'Artagnan. We're going to get into it right after this clip.
Voici donc les diables que je dois gronder. Excusez-moi. Vous croyez que cela va suffire? On ne se fait pas justice soi-même.
C'était un peu plus gras celui-là, je l'embrocherais bien. Hein.
C'est un droit qui m'appartient à moi. Et à moi seul. Qui est cet enfant?
D'Artagnan, votre majesté.
3 duels en 3 heures avec 3 mousquetaires.
Monsieur Athos a le droit de me tuer en premier, Monsieur Porthos en second et Aramis en dernier.
Je le trouve bien arrogant, jeune homme.
That was The Three Musketeers: D'Artagnan. This is a 2023 action adventure film based on Alexandre Dumas's 1844 The Three Musketeers. Is that a book? A novel?
Yes. And the
Okay.
S is silent.
What?
Dumas.
The Three Musketeer?
No, in Dumas. Alexander Dumas.
Musketeer.
All right. I'm probably going to butcher these, but this film is directed by Martin Bourboulon,
Let me pull it up here. going.
Francois Seville, Vincent Cassel, Romain Duris, Pio Marma, and Eva Green. I can say that one.
You got that one.
The official IMDb plot synopsis for The Three Musketeers: D'Artagnan is D'Artagnan arrives in Paris trying to find his attackers after being left for dead, which leaves him to a real war where the future of France is at stake. He aligns himself with Athos, Porthos, and Aramis, the Three Musketeers of the King. pretty solid description there.
Yeah.
I agree. I guess I don't know. Are we talking spoiler? Is there spoilers to be had for a Three Musketeers movie?
Well,
There's certainly spoilers.
yeah, I would say this is a classic story, but I don't know how many people are familiar with this one versus like Robin Hood or Tarzan or something like that.
Yeah, before we get
Zorro.
into it, I got to be honest. I've seen multiple versions of the Three Musketeers, and as I watched the Three Musketeers D'Artagnan, I was like, I realize I don't remember any of the previous versions. Like I don't remember the stories of them. I remember them just like, oh, it's swashbuckling fun type of thing. But other than that, didn't remember any story beats whatsoever. And then when I watched this one, I was like, is this a prequel? And then as we'll get into it, I guess this is the story. It's not a prequel. Like, I don't know why, but in my mind, D'Artagnan was one of the Musketeers. And in this movie, he wants to be one. And I thought that was specific to this movie.
No, I think that's always been the case because
It
the
is.
Three Musketeers, Porthos, and Aramis, and then D'Artagnan is the fourth.
Sure.
Yeah, the story's always been kind of through his point of view, more or less.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I saw this movie on Twitter. It was brought up as kind of like a diamond in the rough. I don't know what the word is. Hidden gem.
A sleeper hit, maybe.
A hidden gem of a new film that's out that most people hadn't heard of. And then I saw that it got decent Rotten Tomatoes reviews. And so I suggested it. We watched it. And I'm curious to know what you guys thought about it.
So I was in the same boat as you, James. I had seen multiple Three Musketeers stories before. The 93 one I watched a fair amount of times as a kid. But I couldn't tell you anything besides the names of the characters and like Cardinal Richaud. I did not remember any of the plots whatsoever. And this movie definitely was giving me probably the truest plot to the actual story. You know, I know we're going to discuss the 1993 one later, which I watched after this, and it's interesting to kind of see the plot differences between the two. But I was on board for most of what I was getting plot wise with this. There's a lot more conspiracy and like murder mystery going on in this story than I was expecting. Like we definitely got some swashbuckling. We got some cool action scenes. There was at least one oneer action scene in the forest. Or was there multiple oneer action scenes?
Wow,
I'm surprised you call that a oneer.
It was a fake oneer, but
I knew it was fake, but it was pretty seamless.
Yeah.
The one in the forest is the longest, but I think there were long takes throughout the whole movie.
Yes, right.
But that one was the longest, I agree.
So this definitely felt like the gritty Three Musketeers, where we're gonna have like sword fighting and oneers, and there's gonna be, you know, some blood and a lot of guns going off. So it definitely felt like a modern take on the story. I kind of wish there was more conspiracy though.
Okay.
Like that was something where like there's this whole murder plot where someone set up for a murder, and I thought the movie was going to be them trying to solve that murder, and they kind of move away from it. And that could be, I'm not familiar with the source material. Like I have not read the book, so that could be part of the actual book too. But that was something where I was hoping for more of like, oh, we need to solve this murder to save this person.
So wouldn't that have taken it more in like a Sherlock Holmes direction rather than a sword fighting direction?
I mean, couldn't they have solved it through sword fighting?
Through dueling, yeah.
I mean, because there definitely was a plot or conspiracy going on, right? And so fighting can only take you so far. Like fighting can maybe get you in the door, but then you have to use your brain to then figure out what's actually going on.
I was actually surprised at how downplayed Richelieu is.
Yeah, not a lot of him in this movie.
Right, he's very, very understated as far as like the puppeteer behind the scenes.
Right,
you would never know it by seeing him around the king, which I suppose is like exactly how he would have wanted it, right?
Yes.
So that was good. The only reason you kind of knew right away was it tells you at the very beginning of the movie that he's like suspect. But he definitely kept his hands clean for much of the movie.
Yeah, there's a lot more focus on Milady,
right,
than on him. Yeah.
Who for me, I felt Eva Green felt fairly out of place in this film.
Really?
I think she was maybe the thing that stuck out the most, like a sore thumb to me.
What was it? Her performance or her costuming? Like, did she not just feel of the period to you?
Her performance was fine, actually. And I loved what her character had to do. Like her actual plot was great.
Oh, the whole Duke of Buckingham and the necklace.
She's got, she's like smoking a pipe evilly and she's just wearing this very striking hat.
Yep.
Which I'm sure is a piece of the time, but none of the other women were wearing hats like that. So it's just, she stood out like Carmen Sandiego, essentially. And it's Eva Green who like just has a very modern kind of look, I think. And then everyone else is just kind of dirty and sweaty and, I don't know. She stood out to me a little bit. And maybe the other complaint I had is that D'Artagnan, they kept referring to him as the young guy. And I think he is probably a young guy, but he looked the same age as all of them.
You think he looked the same age as Vincent Cassel?
Not as Athos.
No, that's the one that he didn't look the same age.
Okay.
But the other two, he felt very much the same age to me.
Aramis and Porthos. Yeah.
Yeah.
To me, he felt younger. Maybe not miles younger, but 5-10 years younger.
Yeah. I don't know. I think he was supposed to be like, this 20-year-old kid, and I don't know how old he is, but like, he seemed like he was in his 30s.
He's no Chris
whatever.
O'Donnell.
He's no Chris O'Donnell. But I really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was great. It was really well done. There's some parts that were really well shot. I was super interested. The acting's awesome. I mean, Vincent Cassel is like a great actor.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden he's in this movie. It's awesome. So I love seeing movies that like feel accurate to the time, even if I have no idea. Like it seems accurate to the time. I love the king and queen kind of subplot. I thought that was really fun. Yeah, this movie, I'm definitely looking forward to the next one.
Yeah, the locations were amazing. Like, especially since we watched two of these similar movies back to back, it was kind of shocking how well done the setting was in this movie.
Right.
The access to locations, the fact that they actually filmed it in France was apparent, I would say. And this movie, as I watched it, I was just constantly reminded of that Robin Hood movie that came out like 3 or 4 years ago that was just awful. And they were like, this is the modern gritty version of Robin Hood. And it was just, everything about it was not what you'd want from that essential version of that story. And this, oddly, was like, this is how Three Musketeers, but somewhat realistic, should feel. It's still a little fun. There's a couple little jokey parts in here, but it's mostly just kind of arrogant guys like goofing around with each other. And on top of that, it's gritty, but not like to a gross effect or like a hard to be a god effect, certainly. You know what I mean? Like it feels of the time because everybody has a little dirt on their clothes as opposed to like it just being like a miserable existence for everybody. Yeah, and that gave you room to kind of have fun with some of the political intrigue that was going on. I also really like in this one, and I think this should have made an impression on me in viewings of other versions of this story, and it didn't until this one, just how dedicated they are to saving the king, right? If you're a musketeer, this is like what you do. It doesn't matter what happens to you.
Right.
That's what you're going to be dedicated to. So like the stuff that Aramis goes through, they just do a really good job of like being like, it doesn't, he gave up his life a long time ago. And so it really doesn't matter. Even what the king does to him, he's always going to protect him, type of thing. And I thought that was cool and just kind of gave everybody a reason to be. And I also like that none of them were like cliched in a weird way. Like it wasn't like they made one of them the womanizer or
All
know what I
the
mean?
Platt.
Yeah, I mean, we'll make comparisons later, but it just
it's hard not to.
They all seem like they had their own personalities, and yet they didn't feel like they were pigeonholed into a personality either.
It wasn't like watching the Ninja Turtles, where you have like, oh, you're the smart one, you're the funny one, you're the whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
They all kind of had their moments, I would say. But yeah, if you're going to make a remake of a classic story and try to like modernize it without being annoying about it, this is like best case scenario, I would say. Like, wouldn't you love to have this type of Robin Hood?
Yes.
Please.
That would be great.
That'd be amazing.
Like, would they actually go to like Sherwood Forest and everybody actually has English accents and you know what I mean? And they just don't, they play it straight as opposed to like try to wacky it up.
But also where not every person has to be awful and conflicted. Like you can have some characters that are just generally good people with honor principles.
Right.
Yeah, like D'Artagnan is a pretty uncomplicated guy.
Yeah.
He's young, he's excited, and he's figuring out life, but he's not like, oh, I have this past and,
And so he was definitely arrogant, which they call out in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And the other, like the king even says, you're arrogant or whatever. One thing I really liked about this movie is some of the dialogue. I wonder if it's taken from the book because it was so good. It was like very juicy dialogue. I wrote down some examples. I wonder if I can pull them up quickly. But one of them was like, you killed the guy. It's like, no. I loaned him some and he wasn't able to repay or something. I thought that was
sure. Yeah, the dialogue felt proper, even though there was occasionally jokes in there. They weren't like, they felt like jokes that people from that time might make.
Right.
Which helped a lot. And they didn't really get, they didn't get crazy with the costumes or the weapons or anything. It all felt very period, specific. I don't know if they're accurate. I have no clue. I don't know what accuracy means in this world, but it felt like it would be accurate.
The pheasant feather hats were amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not a hat guy.
Sure.
And I would look ridiculous in one of those hats, but at the same time,
on
like, that's a
Wikipedia-
cool looking hat.
I read on Wikipedia that when they were doing pre-production, the director said no hats, no feathers. And then like once they got into the costume fittings, the costume people like put some out and they were like, you could do it without it looking ridiculous. And they showed him and he's like, all right, we'll bring the hats back. I think it was good for it. Because it immediately tells you kind of who's a musketeer and who's, probably a shady person.
Yeah, I was surprised that they didn't have like the blue,
right? The blue cloak
poncho. Yeah,
They're
mostly because of the Disney '90s version had that, and that's like a striking visual.
Right.
And I was like, I just assumed they all had that.
Yeah.
Why would you?
A couple
it would just
fights. There are a couple of fights where I was like, "Who's the musketeer here?" Because they all were kind of wearing brown.
Sure.
Especially that fight at night with the carriage, like very early on in the film.
Yes.
I was like, how does anyone know who anyone is?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Another big surprise for me is that this is a part 1. I had no clue.
So at the beginning it says part 1 D'Artagnan. I thought that we'd be doing like a
Chapters.
like a chapter thing.
Right.
And then we got 2 hours in and it was to be continued. And I was like, guys, this is our 4th to be continued of 2023.
Sure.
Which is
It
ridiculous.
did tell a complete story though.
I'm not digging the movie because like the Spider-Verse one, it gave me a complete story, even if it was that there's more to come.
Sure.
But I just found it funny that like we have reviewed 4 movies that have been to be continued this year.
I'm really glad though, because I got Mongol vibes when I saw that to be continued. Right? Wasn't that the name of that movie?
Mm-hmm.
That like we'll never see a part 2 to this. And then I read that they filmed them back to back.
Oh, good.
Nice.
So part 2 is coming, whether this movie does well or not, which is nice to know.
Do we know what part 2 is subtitled?
Milady.
Milady. Oh, so even more focus on Milady.
I'm also curious too, because we'll get into the 1993 Disney version, but this movie basically tells the 1993 Disney version and not much more. And so I wonder if the original text is actually much longer than what we typically see adapted for the screen. And that's what they used.
A couple things is
Okay.
the actual book, Three Musketeers,
Mhm.
is so long. It's super,
Really?
super long.
Okay.
But the second thing is it had tons of sequels. Like there's a series of Three Musketeers books.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Written by the original author.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Do you guys know that Alexander Dumas wrote my favorite book of all time?
I did not know that.
The Count of Monte Cristo.
The Count of Monte Cristo.
Okay.
Never read
That's
Three
a-
Musketeers. I probably should.
I
That's
think
a
you would
good
love
movie
it.
too. Who's in the Count of Monte Cristo? Ray Fiennes?
No, it's
And-
Guy Pearce,
Guy Pearce.
and I can't remember who plays the Count or Mercedes, the love interest. I watched the Count of Monte Cristo in the last year. I avoided it
You
for a
sure
long
it's
time.
not Ray Fiennes?
I don't remember Ray Fiennes being in
Are you
that
thinking of
movie.
Shakespeare in Love?
No. Very different movie.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Yeah, not Ray Fiennes, Joseph Fiennes.
No,
Or-
both of us are wrong. Guy Pearce, you
Okay.
had that right. Jim Caviezel, Jesus himself.
Oh, Jim Caviezel, he's okay. I thought there was
Yep.
Fiennes in there.
Luis Guzman was in that movie,
Yes, he was. I remember that.
of all people. And the love interest was Dagmara Domnisic.
Sure.
Yeah, I think it's funny that in this period, right, you have Alexander Dumas
Mhm.
and Victor Hugo,
Yep, was the other one.
both these French authors that wrote these two incredibly famous books each, and then no one else has heard of any of their other books. So like Victor Hugo has Les Mis
Mhm.
and Hunchback
Hunchback,
of
yep.
Notre Dame. And then Dumas has Three Musketeers and Count of Monte Cristo.
Yeah.
Who has the Scarlet Letter?
Neither of them. Isn't that Hawthorne?
Yeah. That is.
Not to go backwards, but Dagmara, she had a main role in Succession.
Never seen it.
I know Zach's been watching that, right?
Who is Dagmara?
Dagmara.
Okay. Who is that?
I don't know. It just says Dagmara also had a main role in the HBO comedy drama television series Succession.
Okay,
Does
but
your
is that a
website
character
tell
or an
you
actress?
what like can't you see
It's an
maybe-
actress. She played Caroline Novetny.
Who is that?
I don't know. You're the one that watched Succession. I haven't seen
It's
it.
a main
No, no.
role, Zach.
No, I'm asking in the movie in D'Artagnan. Who is that?
No. She's in Count of Monte Cristo.
She's the love interest.
Oh,
She's
okay,
Mercedes.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well then let me look that up.
Okay.
All right.
Mercedes.
While Zach does that, anything else, Kyle, on D'Artagnan that we need to mention?
No, I'm looking forward to the next one, and I really hope we get more of the Cardinal because I think he's a fascinating character as the main driver of the plot.
I think we will. I think that's why he's minimized in this version.
Probably, yeah.
I think it'll be way more about kind of like that part of the palace intrigue in part 2 than what we saw in part 1.
Yeah.
But I feel far more attached to these guys as characters than I have with any other Three Musketeers I've seen.
Mhm.
Like I'm invested kind of in seeing where these people end up type of thing. Whereas I think I have left other versions of this story and just been like, that was fun. And then I never thought about it again.
Yeah.
For the most part.
No, and I think this one, like it gives you this whole Athos backstory I was not familiar with whatsoever,
Mm-hmm.
and like his own family relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Aramis and Porthos still seem kind of like the same character to me. I don't
Sure.
they're not as distinguished between the two as Athos is, but that's okay.
I also liked they didn't give her much to do, but they gave her a little bit of agency. The queen's like right hand
Oh,
girl,
Constance.
messenger girl.
Yeah,
Constance.
Yep.
And I liked her relationship with D'Artagnan and like how probably not period specific respectful it was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he was like he was like a gentleman to her. And it probably wasn't that way back then, I imagine. But I liked it in this movie. It was sweet.
It was sweet.
Yeah, I thought this movie was really fun. And Vicky, I don't know how to say her last name. Is it Crepes?
She
That
played
the Queen.
The Queen, yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
I really like that actress. I've liked her in everything. She was in Phantom Thread.
and old.
Oh, was she an old?
Yeah, she was an old.
Okay, I never saw
Yep.
that. But I just think she's a super interesting actress.
Yeah, I thought she did good stuff with the Queen.
Me too. All right. Supposedly the next one comes out in France this Christmas. So we'll be seeing it, shortly after the first of the year, I imagine.
Awesome.
It'd be
I
great.
believe this one has a U.S. release date too, towards the end of the year.
The second one or this one?
This one.
Okay.
Yeah.
For theaters?
I don't know.
All right.
Great question.
Well, if you get the chance, check out the Three Musketeers : D'Artagnan. How much should you check it out? Let's letterbox this. I'll give it a 4.
I'll give it a 4.
I'll give it a 4.
Nice. 3 4s for the Three Musketeers : D'Artagnan. Now we're going to talk about a completely different movie, The Three Musketeers from 1993. Let's get into it right after this clip.
You have failed.
Oh, you're so naive. Things couldn't be more perfect if I'd planned them myself. The King of France dies at the hands of his own personal guard.
Grief-stricken, terrified, the huddled masses turn for comfort to their devout spiritual leader, who,
Ever so humbly, assumes the throne with the Queen by his side.
I would rather die.
that can be arranged!
That was The Three Musketeers, a 1993 action adventure comedy from Walt Disney Pictures. This one was directed by Stephen Herrick, and these names are a lot easier to pronounce. Charlie Sheen, Kiefer Sutherland, Chris O'Donnell, Oliver Platt, Tim Curry, and Rebecca De Mornay star in this movie. The official IMDb plot synopsis for The Three Musketeers is France, 1625, young D'Artagnan heads to Paris to join the Musketeers, but the evil cardinal has disbanded them. Save 3. He meets the 3, Athos, Porthos, and Aramis, and joins them on their quest to save the king and country.
It's a little long, but it's incredibly accurate.
I wish it had more punctuation, though.
There's a lot of punctuation there, for sure.
Also,
Kyle,
3 is the number. It should be the word. It's odd to have the number 3 there.
I agree.
Oh, yeah.
What's the rule? The grammar rule?
Under 10, have the word.
Under the number 10, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Kyle, it was your suggestion for us to rewatch this. Why?
It's a movie that I remember watching a fair amount of times as a kid when it came out. Like, I definitely rented the VHS and watched it multiple times. I love the song that goes with this, All for Love, with Rod Stewart, Bryan Adams, and Sting.
When the credits kicked in, I was like, holy crap, I have not heard this in so long.
Yeah. And that the first credit is the music credit for the song before any other credit. Like, they want you to buy that CD real bad.
Sure.
Yeah. I don't know. I just thought it'd be a fun rewatch. And I think for me, it was my baseline for Three Musketeers. Like, most of my knowledge came from this movie. I don't know for you guys if that was the case.
Oh, mine as well.
Yeah.
For sure.
So I thought, you know what? Like, here's a good chance to watch a movie I haven't seen in 30 odd years. It's in the same topic. Does it hold up? I don't know. I've been doing a lot of this with my son, like watching movies that I used to watch when I was a kid to see if, like, are they still good? Does he enjoy them? Do I still enjoy them? So.
And what was the verdict on this one for your son?
I think he thought it was fine. Yeah.
You think that? Why? Because he didn't complain about it, or what's the?
No, I mean, he was definitely into it, but he
Okay.
wasn't as enthused as like when we watch other movies together sometimes.
Mhm.
Like we watched Addams Family a week ago, the 91 version,
Mhm.
and he loved it. And he's been talking about Addams Family for a week now. And I don't think he's mentioned Three Musketeers since we watched the movie.
Sure.
Yeah. So I think he was entertained, but it was not life-changing for him.
He's into the weird stuff though, right?
Oh, for sure. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's in the He likes a little bit of goth, a little bit of I don't know, goth is the right word, but gothic. Let's
Sure.
put it that way. Yeah. Yeah.
I would love it if Kyle raised a goth. That would be amazing.
Are goths still a thing?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. I think if you lived like in Portland, you would not question that at all. It's just like there's none here in Florida because it's hot as heck around here. You have to be like self-hating to be a goth around here. That's for sure.
He really wants to watch Wednesday. Like every week, he was like, "Can I watch Wednesday on Netflix?" I'm like, "I don't know. I haven't watched it yet." He goes, "Well, my friends watch it." I'm like, "That's good for your friends." I don't know.
Did you ask him which friends?
Well, he was at a summer camp with like some older kids this year. So I wonder if the older
Sure.
kids have been watching it.
I used to tell my parents my friends watch stuff all the time. When
Oh, I'm
they
sure.
didn't-
Yeah.
They didn't watch it.
Yeah.
Or they said they did and they didn't really.
No, but my new thing now is if he wants to watch something or like play a game that I'm not sure about, I'm like, well, let's watch it together. Let's play it together, and then we can, I can do like, yeah, no, we're not gonna watch.
You
this.
can dip pretty early if it gets weird.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right.
So your answer is yes.
No. Well,
Every time he wants to watch something, if you're not sure, the answer is yes.
yeah. He's like, we watch Terminator. I'm like, yeah, let's watch Terminator together, and then let's see what happens.
Yeah.
No.
Nice.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's why I decided to. I thought it'd be a fun pairing, just because let's revisit this. Why not?
Sure. I had certainly seen this movie, but forgot almost every piece of it for sure.
Mhm.
For some reason in my mind, and maybe it's just because it's like maybe 10 years newer, I thought this was the one directed by Paul Thomas Anderson. Not the director of Boogie Nights, the other guy who did the Resident Evil movies.
Oh no, Paul W.S. Anderson.
Paul W.S. Anderson.
Yes.
You're right. Not Paul Thomas.
I was like, you thought this was Boogie Nights?
No. Not that guy. Paul W.S. Anderson. You're right.
Okay.
And the one that had like Mila Jovovich and didn't it also have the guy from the prequels in it? Or was it a Lord of the Rings guy?
Is this one called The Musketeer you're thinking of?
No, it's the Three Musketeers.
He did the
movie.
Three Musketeers in 2011.
2011. Okay.
Who's in that?
Logan Lerman, Mila Jovovich, Orlando Bloom.
Orlando
Bloom.
Bloom.
Okay.
Lord of the Rings guy. Yep. For some reason I remember that more than this one. So I guess the point is I have no nostalgia for this. And I thought it was pretty cheesy. I was like, I understand what they were doing. And I think if you were to watch this in 1993 in a theater or even at home as a kid, this is a perfectly fine watch. You know what I mean? You're gonna have fun. It's fast. It's very fast moving. There's lots of action and like swashbuckling in a Disney kind of way. And if that's what you're looking for, if you want that version of this, I think this is probably the best version of that available, I would imagine. I don't know. But there wasn't a lot to hang my hat on either. It's just kind of like, okay, they're going to talk in snappy comebacks to each other and then just move on to another action scene like very rapidly. That was the pattern that I was getting from the movie. And it was like cleavage city through the whole movie.
Oh my God.
I was like,
yeah.
wow. I mean, they were like, no wonder Kyle liked this when he was a young man.
When D'Artagnan wakes up in Rebecca De Mornay's
I
room,
mean-
and it's just right down.
This is definitely a 90s thing that they've abandoned, I think, in the last 20 years. But they were, What was this rated? PG or PG-13?
This is PG, but I would say this is a hard PG.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
probably PG just because they didn't show blood. I imagine.
No, there was when the I don't know the jailer was killed. That was bloody. Like that was the one moment I was surprised they got away with that for PG, even in '93.
Yeah, that's possible.
And
so yeah, I didn't not like this movie, but I did play a phone game through it. And still think I got everything it had to offer.
Did you catch how Charlie Sheen was saved from a bullet though?
I did.
Okay, good.
I did. It's the same way he was in D'Artagnan.
Yeah.
But it affected me far more in like with the book, right?
That was D'Artagnan was saved by the book. And
so they changed the person.
Yeah, I mean,
are we talking about the same thing?
In D'Artagnan was shot and the Bible saved him. And in this one, Aramis, Charlie Sheen is shot.
They changed because he's the religious one.
Yes, he's the religious one, the pious one of them.
I did catch that they changed the version. Yes.
Yeah.
Which one did you watch first, Kyle? And then we'll let Zach talk maybe.
I watched D'Artagnan first, the one of the week.
Me too.
Because I didn't want to be clouded by the 93 one.
That was my thought exactly. Zach?
And then I watched the 93 one and I was like, I don't remember any of this at all.
I watched them in chronological order.
So you watched 93 first?
Yeah.
Did that affect your viewing of D'Artagnan, like knowing that at all? Did it influence it or?
I don't think so, except there's several moments that I was like, oh, because there's some things that happen in the 93 one where you're like, okay, this is just Disney kind of cheese.
Like what?
But then it happens in D'Artagnan, like the duels.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, D'Artagnan like doing the 3 duels an hour apart.
Oh yeah,
I was shocked that was in both of them.
Yeah,
right. It does seem like a Disney thing, like noon, okay, 1 o'clock, okay, 2 o'clock.
Yeah,
and then
and then you realize, okay, no, this is just this is probably from the original book,
right?
And yeah, so that was fun little discoveries, I thought. Whereas like if you watch them the other way around, I think you wouldn't have that at all.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No diamond necklace in Three Musketeers Disney version though.
No,
nope. They got rid of that.
That whole subplot wasn't there, right?
They mentioned the Duke of Buckingham and Rochelle, or I think Rochelle. I can't remember what it was. The city, but yeah, no mention of like the Protestants or the Duke of Buckingham and the Queen. None of that. In fact, in the 93 one, the Queen is she's so in love with her husband and just wishes he would notice her.
Yeah. Chris O'Donnell is absolutely the most silly D'Artagnan. He says maybe 10 times in the movie, I'm D'Artagnan.
Yeah.
And every time he does, it sounds so silly that he's claiming to be D'Artagnan.
Because he's the whitest white boy ever.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's France. Like,
I know, but like the only person that somewhat feels proper is Oliver Platt in this movie.
He is straight off of the lacrosse team.
Right.
And then as soon as practice ended, he came and played D'Artagnan. I thought a standout was Tim Curry. Chewing the scenery.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's always a standout chewing the scenery.
He was great.
I was surprised to see Julie Delpy pop up in this movie. No idea she was in this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For like 3 scenes. So I watched Robin Hood Prince of Thieves like a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
Not with Galen. I just want to watch it for myself. And there's some definite parallels between those two movies. And this one kind of felt like Disney was trying to follow Prince of Thieves, but make it a little bit more family friendly.
Mm-hmm.
They went down to casting Michael Wincott, who plays Guy Gisborne. Correct? Is that the name?
Yeah.
Zach. Right. But he played
Guy of Gisborne.
Guy of Gisborne. He's sort of like the right hand henchman in Prince of Thieves, and then he plays the right hand henchman in this movie, and he's costumed exactly the same. Like I swear they just took his Prince of Thieves costume, put him on in this one.
He's the great grandson of that character.
Interesting.
No. Like in Prince of Thieves, they got Alan Rickman to chew the scenery. This one, they got Tim Curry. Prince of Thieves, lots of prison scenes with like hands sticking through jail cells. This one, lots of prison scenes with hands sticking through. So there's a lot of Prince of Thieves DNA all over this movie, for better or worse.
Would you guys say you're a fan of swashbuckling?
What does that mean?
Like,
Okay.
yeah, like sword fighting movies.
Here's the definition according to Google, and I had to prove that I'm not a robot in order to get this for you.
Okay.
Engaging in daring and romantic adventures with bravado or flamboyance, or a daring and romantic adventure. I feel like it should include like jumping around with swords as well, but yeah, that's what they give you.
When I think of the word swashbuckling, I imagine jumping with swords, right? You're like you're in boots and you're jumping from like a higher level to a slightly lower level. Yeah. Like Princess Bride. That's swashbuckling.
For sure.
Yeah.
So would you guys say in general you're a fan? I would say I'm a big fan of that genre.
Yeah. I would say yes. Maybe more so as a kid.
Okay.
But yeah.
I would say yes too, but I also don't seek it out. So maybe I'm a fair weather fan of it.
Sure.
Like I've probably watched like an insane amount of war movies, and I will watch ones that are unproven just to see if I like them. Whereas I'm not watching bad versions of this. I only watch the ones that like everybody watches, or ones that I've heard are good type of thing. And they don't come up very often. So maybe that's another reason.
Yeah.
I feel like I enjoy them when I watch them, but I also don't watch all of them.
Like I'll go out of my way to watch even bad King Arthur movies, you know?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Because you're kind of looking for the one that maybe other people don't like that you do, or ones that just are lesser known that are still good.
Because I've discovered that I tend to like them even if other people don't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, Sword of the Valiant right there. That's
Sword of the Valiant was great.
It's
Zach,
something.
when I first joined the podcast, we were trying to brainstorm ideas. One of our ideas was to do a Robin Hood themed episode, and you actually gave us 10 Robin Hood movies to watch.
Yeah.
And they've been on my watch list, and I kind of want to do that episode still.
I would love it.
So I'm there for it. Today I will commit. Yes, let's do a Robin Hood episode. James,
you guys should do it together on a day that I'm not here.
Sure. I see to watch like 7 more Robin Hood movies.
I don't want to watch 10 Robin Hood movies. No, I really don't.
Zach,
if you want to give me the one that I haven't seen that you think is good, I'll watch that, but I'm not watching 10 of them. No.
Oh my goodness, James.
10 is a lot. You're asking for 20 hours at least of my life for a story that is the same over and over and over again.
No, I think the movies I put on that list has a lot of variety.
A lot of variety.
I do think that, yeah.
You got Men in Tights, you got Prince of Thieves, you got Adventures of Robin Hood, you've got Robin and Marion, right?
Yeah.
Oh, well, if we're going to do movies I've already seen, then fine.
Yeah, you've already seen half of them, James.
Oh, okay. But still 5 of them that I haven't seen. And I bet the 5 are like really old.
No.
They look kind of old from the posters.
No.
Well, Zach,
half of them are from 2022.
I will watch it. I will do it.
All right.
Is All for Love
the greatest movie theme?
The best song written with a lyric from the movie into it?
I need another example. Like, I don't think they ever say "My Heart Will Go On" in Titanic.
Men in Black.
Oh yeah, no, this song's better than Men in Black for sure.
Men in Black. Yeah. I'm trying to think of what else. There's got to be
about
other
from
songs.
The Bodyguard?
I
will always love you.
Well, that was not written for The Bodyguard though. That's a Dolly Parton song from the 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But do they say that in there? I don't even think they say the line in the movie.
I've never seen The Bodyguard. Okay, I'm gonna ask you a different question.
Never seen The Bodyguard.
No. I've heard it's not that good. I've heard the song. So
sure.
This movie, again, Prince of Thieves shares a lot of DNA.
Mm-hmm.
So what's a better soundtrack song? All for Love by Bryan Adams, Rod Stewart, and Sting.
Mm-hmm.
Or Everything I Do for You by Bryan Adams from Prince of Thieves.
Well, that line wasn't in the movie.
No, I'm asking what's a better. I'm ignoring your question because I can't think of any other examples besides Men in Black. So,
Okay.
I'm asking a new question.
What's the Men of Thieves one again?
Prince of Thieves?
Prince of Thieves, right.
Everything you do, I do for you. The Bryan Adams song.
I think that's a great song.
Yeah.
I think All for One
All for Love
is better.
It's called All for Love. So that's
right,
your
but
thing.
it's All for One or All for Love. So I'm saying All for One because that's the lyric from the movie. Yeah, I like the Three Musketeers one. The other song's fine too, but if you're going to force me to choose, I'm going to choose the other one.
I like that both those movies use the chorus in orchestral versions in the movie. So like when Chris O'Donnell shows up in Paris for the first time, it busts out with like the chorus of All for Love with trumpets and violins and everything. And that just made me very happy.
Sure.
James.
Yes.
I thought of maybe an answer to your question, although it probably already existed before the movie.
Okay.
But then again, I don't know. What is the Michelle Pfeiffer movie where she's a teacher of like an inner city school?
Dangerous
Minds. Dangerous Minds. What was the song that they used in that?
Gangster's
the Coolio
Paradise.
song?
Gangster's Paradise.
Yeah. That's not from the movie.
You mean so you want a line from a movie, not just a memorable song associated with the movie?
I want a line from the movie in the song that's attached to the movie.
That's
What
a
about
very
Footloose?
specific ask on the.
I'm reading a list. Footloose. Got to get Footloose.
Yeah, James, I
Footloose.
just said that.
Oh, you did? I didn't hear you.
What about Danger Zone? Did they ever say Danger Zone in Top Gun?
No.
Okay.
Jailhouse Rock, the Elvis movie. I mean, that song's like in the movie.
Yeah.
That's it.
So yes,
No.
of those four examples, I think that All for Love is the best one.
American Gangster. There's a Jay-Z song literally called American Gangster that he wrote for the movie.
Oh yeah, everyone's favorite Jay-Z song.
What about 9 to 5?
With Dolly?
Yeah.
Dolly Parton.
Absolutely. There's a Ghostface Killah song related to The Usual Suspects.
What about MC Hammer's Adam's Family rap?
Absolutely. Can't forget Ninja Turtles rap too. Did they ever say "Go Ninja, Go Ninja, Go Ninja, Go" in that movie?
They sing the song in the
they
actual
sing
movie.
the song in the movie.
Sure.
So yes.
Why not? Buddy Holly's "That'll Be the Day" in The Searchers is quoted in the movie.
But do they? I don't think there's a needle drop of "That'll Be the Day" in The Searchers.
Are you sure?
Yeah,
Positive.
I'm pretty sure the movie ends and he's standing in a door frame and it's panning away in his silhouette, and then all of a sudden "That'll Be the Day" just drops over credits.
Just doo up.
Yep.
Right after the Western that took place 100 years earlier.
Here's something I didn't know. The band White Zombie, their song "More Human Than Human."
Yeah, Blade Runner.
Blade Runner.
Yeah, I want more life. I ain't done.
I did not know that.
Yeah, they take the famous Rucker Hauer quote at the end and kind of rework it into lyrics.
Interesting.
I'm pretty sure the words "more human than human" are in Blade Runner also.
Oh, they're definitely in that song.
Yes, it's called that.
Not only that, but they say that phrase like a billion times.
It's the chorus.
Right.
That's what happens.
And the chorus is literally that phrase like 6 times every chorus. There's like nothing else to the chorus.
There's a Boards of Canada song that references Blade Runner too.
Okay. Nice. I wonder how many other songs reference Blade Runner. Probably a lot.
Just those two. not a huge cultural impact on that movie.
We are way off topic.
Yeah.
What are you guys letterboxing? The 1993
Hey guys,
version.
Can we make this Patreon and then record the actual episode?
No. We cannot do that.
All right.
I'll give it 2.5. I'm not mad at it. It is what it is, and I think it's good at being what it is. But it is just exactly what you'd expect it to be, I would say.
It's a 3 for me.
It's a 3 for me. I want to say there's probably a half-star nostalgia bump. If I had watched this cold, I'd have been pretty bored.
I wasn't necessarily bored. It probably didn't help that I had just watched the story like the night before.
Right.
And this was like the cream puff version of that.
I thought, to be honest, there was too much sword fighting in this movie. Like after a while, it's all kind of the same, unless you got Oliver Platt and his weird things. It's just clanking of swords and music. And I was like, okay, I need a plot.
And like most of the Musketeers talked in catchphrases and jokes.
Oh,
they barely had any dialogue other than one-liners. And the only one that did have some kind of pathos to it was Kiefer Sutherland. And his whisper acting was really annoying in this movie. He was just like constantly.
He looks great though. He looks so young.
Really low to other characters. And I was like, why are you whispering in the middle of the forest? There's nobody around. Would you say he looked great?
Yeah. He looks so young.
The mullets were really strong in this movie.
Oh,
too.
Charlie Sheen's mullet was incredible. It was.
Is that period specific? Do people have mullets?
No, I don't think so. No,
they had long hair.
The king's wig though, that was amazingly bad.
Yeah. Well, they what do they call it? Not characterized, caricatured the king in this one. He wasn't a real person. He was like little Lord Fauntleroy or whatever they call him.
Farquaad,
from Shrek. Yes.
I don't know. People look like that.
I'm sure they did, but like everybody else had their own suave nature, and they made him like the nerdy.
He's sniveling,
guy. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, the guy at the beginning, the very pale faced guy who's fighting D'Artagnan, the whole sister thing.
Oh my!
That was so
they
90s.
Kept going back to that well.
Yeah. They went there, and his scream is like a chicken. I was like, yeah, this is definitely a Disney 90s thing right here.
Over and over. And every time his scene would end with him yelling the same D'Artagnan.
Yeah, but in like that screech.
Yeah.
What do you think the 1993 version of Three Musketeers has on Rotten Tomatoes? Keep in mind it's a legacy review. This was before
38.
I would. It's either just under or just over fresh. So it's either like 58 or 64. I'm gonna say it's between 55 and 65. I'm giving you a range.
Kyle says between 55 and 65. Zach says 38. Is 30%.
Ooh.
So Zach is far more realistic about where this movie lands with the critics anyway.
They didn't care for Oliver Platt's one-liners.
What's the audience score?
Evidently not. I don't know. I was looking at the Wikipedia page. I could probably find it though. Here we go. No, I can't find it fast. Can anybody find it fast?
I can't.
I can.
My computer's slow.
Google doesn't like me right now.
Yeah.
What did you search
been
that made
a lot?
Yeah.
No, I have not.
Why is it suspecting you of being a robot?
Great question.
What's another thing you Googled that it wanted to like check on you?
The last thing I Googled was 5% Nation.
5% Nation?
Yeah.
Am I going to end up on some weird website?
Yeah. You will.
Oddly, when I go to Three Musketeers on Rotten Tomatoes 1993, there's no tomato meter and no audience score. So maybe Wikipedia is full of crap.
Yeah, maybe.
When I go to Rotten Tomatoes, Three Musketeers, it has a 30% tomato meter and a 62% audio score.
Oh, I thought James was asking the audience score. That's why I gave my
Sure
range.
he did.
Yeah.
Sure he did.
Yeah.
Which fits right along with my 3 stars, I think.
Yeah.
Why is yours different than mine?
Do you want to know the 5 movies it suggests I might like based on this movie?
Sure.
Is one Prince of Thieves?
No.
Okay.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze.
Mm-hmm.
Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
They're just giving you 93 movies.
Mystery Men. Evolution. And Final Fantasy. The Spirits Within.
Okay.
All right.
I wouldn't lump those together, but
how do you guys feel about doing these like re-reviews.
Great.
Should we do more of these? If we like have a new movie that then pairs with something from 30, 40 years ago?
If they work.
Okay.
Sure.
All right.
I mean, we did one with, what was it? There was like a Jane Austen book, right? Where we watched like 4 versions.
You watched a bunch of
the same.
Emmas.
Emma.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. He'll do it with Emma, but not Robin Hood.
We did it with Little Women also. I think
That
we
was
watched
4.
both
You're
Little
talking
Women.
about like 10. 10 is a lot. Plus, we've already talked Robin Hood a bunch. Emma, we had never talked about. There is another Three Musketeers coming out, though.
Is it part 2 to this movie?
No.
Okay.
Not that. I don't know where this is from, but I think it's more like a comedy that's not out. Oh, this is another directed by Bill Thomas. This is a direct-to-video type thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure the story's in the public domain, so
Anybody could do it.
anyone can make it. We could make one. All right, quick. Which musketeer are you? Go.
Aramis.
I'm D'Artagnan.
That's no. We gotta be Porthos, at Aramis, or Athos.
He's a musketeer.
He's not one of the
By the
three,
end of the
though.
movie, spoiler alert.
Oh, he's not one of the 3.
Yeah.
I guess I'm Aramis.
I'm Aramis. I already claimed it.
I didn't hear that.
I think you're an Athos, James.
No, I think you're wrong.
Fine.
I'll duel you for the honor.
For the slight.
You free at 1?
I don't know anything about Athos. Which one's Athos?
Vincent Castle.
Oh, that's who I meant.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you're Athos.
I had him wrong.
Yeah.
That's who I want to be.
Zach, you're an Aramis. You're the Charlie Sheen of the group.
I want to be the old, seasoned, loyal person.
Yeah, Athos. There you go.
There you go.
I'll take Porthos. Sure.
Who is he?
He's Oliver Platt, the 93 one. I can't tell you how he was distinguished from Aramis in the D'Artagnan movie.
Okay. Have you ever seen the 2011 Paul W.S. Anderson version?
I haven't.
No, and I probably won't.
You guys should watch that. It's pretty wild.
I've got like 6 Robin Hood movies I need to watch. So
All right, fair enough. All right. So 2 3s and a 2.5 for the 1993 Disney-fied version of the Three Musketeers. Thank you for listening to this episode 598 of the Cinereelists. We're 2 away from episode 600. Don't forget, you can always send us an email to heyguys@cinereelists.com with a comment, question, list suggestion, or movie suggestion. We appreciate those. Find us on YouTube, subscribe there. Check us out on Patreon, patreon.com/Cinereelists. Leave us an Apple Podcast review. We'd appreciate that. 5 stars only. Or follow us on social media at Cinereelists on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok. Or you could follow me on my personal Letterboxd or Twitter account at YoJRB.
You follow me on Twitter or Letterboxd at Shaban.
find me on Letterboxd at Peter SKB.
Next week, we will be starting part 1 of our 600 favorite films of all time, with a special focus on number 501 to 600.
Yeah.
There'll
And
be
next week
updates to the bottom 500, but mainly focused on those.
Yeah. Next week is going to be 600 through 551, pretty much.
Right.
So if you at home have a list of your 600 favorite films, write in. We'd love to see it.
I don't even have a list of my 600 favorite films yet.
I'm looking forward to it. But it is a pain in the butt to make this list. And the farther we get into it, the longer it takes too.
I can
For me.
preview right now. Half of mine is going to be updates to bottom 500
Sure.
because so many of these just got pushed into. Yeah.
Not to tack something onto the end here, but what's your strategy when making this list? What do you have a method for this, or is it all willy-nilly? You're just ranking things wildly.
So my strategy used to be only rate movies I gave a heart to
Mm-hmm.
because I was like, oh yeah, these are my favorites. I gave them a heart.
Then you ran out of those.
Then I ran out of those. So then I started ranking like other movies I gave 4.5 and 4 stars. And I think for this time around, I pretty much took every movie I gave 4 star and above since the last time we did it.
Okay.
Threw in a couple like 3.5s that should have been favorites that I just kind of forgot about. And
Okay, nice.
yeah, so it was only like 60 new movies. Well, it was more than 60. I can't remember how it was. It wasn't too bad to go through. So, what about you, Zach? What's your method?
Yeah, I basically went through. I found all the movies since the last time we did this. It's been 2 years.
Yep.
So all the movies since then that I gave like a 4 stars or better to, and then looked at all the movies that I gave 4 stars or better to that weren't on this list, and those are the ones in consideration, I would say.
Yep, that sounds about the same.
Yeah.
Nice. Roughly the same process. Good game. Let's get out of here, guys. Thanks for listening. We appreciate it. We'll see you next time. Until then, keep it Cinereal.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.